Hail everyone! Welcome to Freeze Peach Gaming. My name is Steven, and this is the first live stream I've done on YouTube. This is mostly here to be a test stream. Going to try out different elements, see how everything goes. Just get a general pulse of what it's like to live stream here on YouTube. I did it a little bit on Twitch back in the day, and it just wasn't my thing. I didn't like back then just specifically gaming while I stream, but thought this might be a good opportunity to see what it's like to chat and stream at the same time. As you may have noticed from the title, I'll be drinking some tea, smoking some tobacco, and we'll be talking about some current events. The tea today is tea Earl Grey hot, and if the camera focuses, you will see that is not a joke. It's actually called tea Earl Grey hot by Tea and Absinthe. I run into this company a couple of times while at different conventions. They always have a nice booth set up, and I'm a big tea person, so I always wind up spending like an hour or more in this one area trying different things, smelling different teas, and I wind up spending about $100 every time I go there, and that was one of my pulls last time, and it's an excellent Earl Grey tea. If you are a fan, I would suggest checking out teaandabsinthe.com for tea, focus camera, tea Earl Grey hot. Plus, you get the Star Trek pun in there, which is also just awesome. Who doesn't like that? The tobacco today, I do not have a tin for it as I gave it to a friend of mine, but I am smoking out of my Paul Hungarian Rossi Vittorio, which is basically just a cheaper version of a Savinelli, but they work just as well. In fact, I love this pipe. This was intentionally purchased as a pocket pipe, and I smoke it all the time. It's specifically for Pirate Cake, which I want to say is Cornell and Deal, but it's a Latakia, very, very heavy Latakia from Cornell and Deal, and it very quickly became one of my favorite tobaccos. I didn't really like the Latakias at first, but I have grown to absolutely love them, and they've become one of my favorite styles overall, and that being like the extreme Latakia has become one of my favorites. So let's go ahead and spark that up. That is delicious. I did mention this stream is not for children, right? Don't smoke, kids. It's bad for you. No, kitty. Don't eat my tobacco. Got a big floofy bitch of a cat over here trying to eat my damn tobacco. Ooh, that is good stuff. I haven't smoked in quite some time now. I actually put the pipe down and did the improper thing. I've been smoking cigarettes more often, which is what I should not do. But I was weak. Smoking more cigarettes. I should smoke the pipe more often and get away from the cigarettes. Well, I'm going to hop right into some of these current events here I was planning on talking about. Got a few things lined up. This will probably kill any chance of me monetizing this stream, but I'm not monetized anyway, so fuck it. But I kind of want to do a live reaction of, they just dropped yesterday a trailer for The Expanse Season 6. I am quite the fan of this show. I even liked Season 5 that a lot of people don't like. I mean, it was crap what they did to Alex and how they basically killed him off screen. Nobody liked that. I didn't like it. But nonetheless, with that exception, it was a solid season overall, especially when Amazon has this really bad habit of screwing up shows. Like, they'll come out with a solid first season, maybe even a good second season. By the time you get to 3, 4, they tend to just suck. I've talked about it before. Man in the High Castle was probably one of the biggest disappointments from, I can't even remember what year season 4 came out. What was that, 2018, 2019? Season 4 of Man in the High Castle was a huge disappointment nonetheless. So that kind of wrecked my faith in Amazon. And then they did it to me again with The Boys. Like, I really liked season 1 of The Boys. Then you get around to season 2 and it just wasn't good. I didn't like it. I didn't like it by like the third episode maybe. I was out by then. It was, in fact, I remember the exact time. It was when they do the intro of the show, the first like 5-10 minutes or so of it is of the fat white guy getting radicalized by Stormfront and her podcast, and he goes out and shoots some convenience store owner because that's a thing that happens. You know, we're going to completely excuse all of the looting and rioting so long as you aren't committing wrong thing, but we're just going to make up tales of people going out and shooting gas station attendants because they get radicalized by far right YouTubers. That's exactly what they were painting everyone out to be. And, of course you get toward the end of the season, which I didn't actually watch, but it got spoiled. I didn't care at the time, where, all of the girls team up and it's girl power against Stormfront and they kick the crap out of her and she's a literal Nazi. And I didn't like it. It got, like, it was political in the first season, but by the time you get to the second season, it's just crap. I didn't like it. They were overtly political and they were no longer making fun of each side of politics. Like in the first season, they make fun of the Hollywood image. Like, ooh, yes, this is a very sexually explicit outfit that we're trying to get you to wear. This will be great. All of our young girls will look up to you in your, low cut, basically thong swimsuit. That'll be wonderful. And then you also get the Bible episode, the evangelist episode with the huge Christian convention. And I've actually been to a couple of those things when I was younger, and, well, it wasn't far off, is what I'll say. But nonetheless, I'd like to get into watching this trailer for Season 6 of The Expanse. So let's go ahead and hop on over. Alright, let me get my pipe lit again. And let's get into this. Let's start at the very beginning.
We're wounded, broken, trying desperately to keep ourselves going by pretending we're not.
Poor.
Okay, let's see what we have going on here in this still. So it appears they're actually watching something on a monitor. You can see they have this heads-up display, or HUD for those in the know, going on here. Something with the IASG right there. You can see some telemetry and the like. Looks like that doesn't quite look like another meteor coming in, because they showed the other ones before were coming in at an angle, because that's what happens. It's going to get trapped into the gravity well of a planet. So that's probably some sort of nuke that's been fired from a ship.
Poor Alta. Doesn't know where she'll get her food and water. Welcome to the belt.
Ceres will be the capital city of our Belter nation. A place all Belters and forever call.
Yeah, once again, we're getting some very Che Guevara vibes out of Marcos. They're very much trying to stand up and rally all of his people to, for some sort of rebellion, to do something like, I don't know, cut themselves off from any supply or protection they were getting before. I mean, I understand they had built their own fleet, and we'll see if that works out for him. But I did actually like how in the 5th season they really painted Marcos out to be, he acts like he's a radical revolutionary who's there to, uplift his people and bring them freedom and bring them more control over their own lives. But in reality, he's a power-hungry piece of shit. And we all learned that very quickly while watching through the season.
All home!
I just received word they've located Daenerys' ship.
You have something in mind?
I do.
Getting the crew of the Rossi, getting them all back together. Yeah, everyone had kind of split up in season 5, so of course with this being the final season, they've got to get everybody back together, get the whole crew back on the Rossi for one final hoorah, gonna fly off into the sunset and take on Marcos. And you know what? I actually kind of like that as a setup for this final season.
Permission to come aboard?
What's going on?
The old lady believes the Rossi is the best option for this operation.
Are you getting paid extra for this?
There's a war on. Captain Drummer, we was Golden Bow. Now we fight with you.
Good.
So it looks as if Drummer has gone full separatist from the new OPA. Which that could be good, give you an additional faction in there. Maybe she'll start picking up some more support of people who don't want to have anything to do with Marcos. That might be a good sort of third faction to throw into the mix, because Mars is basically out of the question now. No one really cares about them. They've lost their national goal. They were all marching forward to turn Mars into an Eden. And, that's now lost since they have their pick of planets beyond the ring. So that might be a good, some good C plot going on there.
I'm ready for a fight.
A war will come soon enough.
Let them come. We'll be ready.
Holy shit.
What is it?
The mother lode.
So you don't see it right here, but you saw it before. I do kind of like how they gave Marcos the full-on man bun in this one. It lets you know who some of the creators are kind of targeting his ideology towards. I know I kind of fit the description as well, but the shaved sides of the head, man bun. He doesn't have the shaved sides of the head, but plenty of other people in the OPA do. But yeah, it's you can definitely see they're leaning towards making the OPA representative of a certain ideology.
Your father. He's better with you at his side.
I tried to save Philip, and I failed.
Firing one!
I wonder if that's indicative of they're trying to lead up. There's going to be more tension between mother and son with Naomi and Philip. Perhaps one may be put into a situation where they might be forced to kill the other or attempt to kill the other, and hopefully we'll see. I have a feeling that if it's Naomi being forced to kill Philip, she won't be able to do it. Philip is going to hesitate, but he may actually go through on it. He might be brainwashed enough by Marcos.
In the end, the only thing that matters is fighting for who's covering your back.
I want the belt to see what it's doing to us.
How do I get through them?
I want them to see the lives we've lost, the pain we've suffered.
I never loved you because you were fighters. I loved you because you were builders.
One thing I didn't particularly like from season 5 was like the weird love triangle going on between all of the members of Drummer's crew. Like, Drummer was sleeping with the one chick, she was sleeping with the other dude. I don't know, I feel like even with the area that Drummer grew up in being, a belter, which they might be a little bit more loose with their romantic relationships there, I don't know, I still feel like she would have been a little bit more possessive over someone she has a romantic relationship with, just from how possessive she was over Naomi, just from their friendship.
We need something to give us a reason to hope.
everything.
Who's there?
Okay. So that last little bit there, that was actually indicative of one of the short stories from the expanded universe of The Expanse. I believe it's called Dog Soldiers, something like that. I heard someone else was talking about it in one of my comments, and it did sound pretty interesting. So that also means they're starting to run low on material for what they think will be a good adaptation going to the screen. You know, when you're having to cut into short stories or novelettes that are just attached to the universe. But at the same time, it also shows us that the creators of this show they're not wanting to try and stray away and do their own thing. Perhaps they've learned from the mistakes of others. They've seen that trying to create your own story within a well-established universe that's already been created by other people tends to not work out very well. Final season of Game of Thrones didn't work out very well. Season 4 of Man in the High Castle was absolute garbage. I made it through one episode of that, and I couldn't even start the second episode. I was bored. I was so bored. But yeah, that actually looks pretty good. I will slap a like on there, and I will definitely be checking that out. I'll probably be doing some episode by episode updates when it comes out. What is it, like December 10th, I believe? Really should be in the description, but I have a feeling Amazon doesn't know well enough that they need to put their own start date in the description. It's just somewhere here in the video. It's probably just up on screen, and I wasn't paying attention. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, December 10th says it right there. Final season. So that's certainly something to look forward to. Not a lot of great TV shows these days, and The Expanse has been one of the few that has not let me down so far. I am definitely looking forward to that one. Yeah, and and I will be sort of editing these videos later on and putting them into smaller ones to go up onto the channel itself. So why don't you go ahead and let me know what you think with a comment down below. Give me a like and subscribe if you enjoy my content. So, let's see. What else did I want to talk about? Oh, yes. More in the current event. Not so much in the realm of pop culture, but just straight up current events. I wanted to discuss the continuing story of this verifiable piece of shit right here, who I'm sure you've all heard about before, Professor Alan Walker. And I don't feel bad about like saying the person's name. It's in the frickin' article. I can't avoid it. But this is the guy, girl thing. I don't know what their preferred gender or whatever is. But this is the professor at University of Virginia University, sorry. Who is claiming that they want to destigmatize pedophilia, and they want to essentially normalize kid diddling, and they don't want to refer to these people as kid diddlers or pedophiles anymore. They want to call them MAPs. Now, MAP isn't exactly a new term. Everyone's coming out saying like, oh, they're now referring to themselves as MAPs. That's been going on for years. Anyone who's been a viewer of Shoe on Head knows that this is not a new thing. She has been screaming to the skies about this stuff for a long time. This is just, it's starting to go a bit more mainstream, and now people are starting to pick up on it. So everything that they're talking about in these articles is not new. This is stuff that has been out for a while now. It's just getting more mainstream attention, and I hate to say it, I am all for, gay, lesbian, bi rights. If gay people want to get married and be miserable like the rest of us, by all means, go right ahead. I'm not even against gay people being able to adopt children. In fact, I think our adoption system is completely screwed up, and I wouldn't be against that as long as they can meet the same requirements that other adoptive parents have to meet and prove that they can give a healthy and functioning home for the child. I'd be all for it. It'd be better for a kid to grow up with two moms or two dads than to grow up with no parents at all and become a ward of the state. Of course I'd prefer that. But nonetheless, the LGBT, LMNOQIP2, what have you movement has been for a long time, has been getting slowly co-opted by the absolute worst degenerates imaginable. There's a lot of pedophilia going on there, and a lot of people trying to normalize pedophilia and claim that it is a sexuality. And just to automatically debunk the idea that pedophilia is a sexuality, I can break this down very quickly. This is another thing I picked up from Shoe on Head. So let's talk about sexualities. You have straight or hetero, which would be man, woman, or male, female. You then have gay, homosexual, male, male. You then have lesbian, female, female. You then have bi, which is male to female, female to male, female to female, male to male. They're just greedy. But then you have kid diddlers. Adult, child. Can anyone spot the difference there? Anything seem a little bit wrong? A little bit off about what they're trying to pull on you there? Anything quick and fast they're trying to pull the wool over your eyes with and normalize the absolute worst behavior in our society, the kind of stuff that criminals find to be disgusting and horrid. Either way, let's do a quick overview of this article about this professor at Virginia University, who is trying to normalize minor attracted people. Call them what they are. They're pedophiles. They're kid diddlers. They're degenerate pieces of shit who deserve to put up on a wall. I didn't say anything. What did I say? No, nothing. So this is from the New York Post. An assistant professor at Virginia University is taking heat for saying it isn't necessarily immoral for adults to be sexually attracted to children. Full stop. Yes, it is. It absolutely is immoral, and people who do have these feelings should go and seek therapy before they act on these feelings and wind up in prison and start to get treated by the people who they're going to get treated like the children that they abused, and they deserve it. I am all for the death penalty for any kid diddlers, but in states where they don't allow death penalty, throwing them in Gen Pop and general population isn't the worst thing either. And another quick side note, the reason why most criminals hate these kid diddlers is because a lot of them were abused as children, and they recognize that the abuse from when they were a child is directly related to their criminal activity and their inability to function properly within society. So they're just trying to prevent, in their minds, they're trying to prevent future assault on children. Let's see. Alan Walker, who teaches sociology and criminal justice at Old Dominion University. Great, this piece of shit is teaching criminal justice. These are the people teaching our children. I'm never going to get through this article, and it's my own fault. I've talked about before, and I'm going to say it again because it's important for everyone in the back to hear it. The long march through the institutions has been going on for a long time now. It started primarily during the LBJ administration, where you had a lot of socialist, leftist, and communist who were co-opting other ideologies in order to push their own views. They wanted to do what they called the long march through the institutions, where they started taking up positions in these places until they became the plurality and eventually the majority and eventually the authorities within these institutions. They started with higher education, and we've seen what happens when they go through higher education. They then move down. They're now training the future teachers. So now we're seeing this ideology being pushed into lower education, into grade school, all the way down to kindergarten and pre-K. They are pushing this ideology. And they're able to do it because they've spent the better part of 50 years slowly taking over the institutions. They're doing the same thing with all of the three-letter institutions in the government. This is why we see such SJW forgiveness coming from the FBI. This is why we see the legal system, the court system, allowing rioters to go free so long as they are rioting in the right name for the right people. It's been going on for a long time now. They've been slowly making headway. They've been playing the long game. They've been doing it for a while now, and people are just starting to catch on. So please let other people know about this. Do your own research into the long march through the institutions, and tell everyone you know about it. Excuse me. Let's see. So yes, teacher teaching sociology and criminal justice at Old Dominion University made the controversial comment while discussing minor attracted persons and pedophiles during a November 8th interview with the Prostasia Foundation and a San Francisco-based child protection organization. That's an even worse thing that these people do. This Prostasia Foundation, I believe this is, once again, talking about shoe on head. I know a lot of you don't agree with her, but at the very least support her for all of the exposing of pedophiles that she does. At least give her that support. Whether or not you agree with her politics doesn't really matter when she is trying her damnedest, and she has been doing it for years, to expose pedophiles for what they are. Get these headphones off. Oh, that's so much better. But Prostasia is one of these foundations. They claim to be protecting children. Oh yes, we are making sure that children are safe. But at the same time, they also believe that it's perfectly acceptable for people to then sleep with these children. They think that by denying these children the sexual advances of adults, that they are harming kids. They think it's better to diddle the kids for their own protection. They twist reality and they twist words. It's what these pieces of shit do. Walker was discussing their book, A Long Dark Shadow, Minor Attracted People and Their Pursuit of Dignity. These people don't deserve dignity. Go fuck yourself. When he insisted it's important to use that terminology instead of pedophile because it's less stigmatizing. I'm sorry, this is one population of people that deserves to be fucking stigmatized. If you want to diddle kids, and especially if you act on these things, which these organizations like Prostasia advocate for people to act on these horrible feelings that they have, you deserve to be fucking killed. I'm sorry. You deserve to go to prison and get used like the very children that you fucking abused, and you deserve to be full on killed. Full stop. So just to sort of paraphrase some of the other stuff that they're saying, this isn't exact quotation, but basically they're making the argument that not all people who are attracted to children will act on these urges, which, I guess is true. However, destigmatizing these urges does not help to get these people to stop. In no way are they saying that, oh no, this is a bad thing and you should try and seek help for it. You should go, pray on these things. And I'm not a religious person, but I know prayer works for a lot of people. So, you should try to prey on these urges that you have, or go seek help, seek an authority, seek counseling, seek therapy. No, just that we should destigmatize what they're doing. In essence, this person is trying to advocate for kid diddling without outright advocating for kid diddling. So that's a quick little summary of the rest of this article. See, they even say, I want to be clear, child sexual abuse is an inexcusable crime. As an assistant professor of sociology and criminal justice, the goal of my research is to prevent crime. Okay, that's, I guess, seems like an admirable goal, but at the same time, this is not something you should destigmatize. Destigmatizing isn't going to help kid diddlers to not diddle kids. In fact, you're emboldening them. You're making them think that there's nothing wrong with the feelings that they're having, when perhaps they can't help it. Perhaps their brains are just wired wrong. Perhaps it's just a mental illness that they haven't acted on criminally yet. Doesn't mean that the stigma doesn't need to exist. Well, bit of an update on this colossal piece of shit. Professor placed on leave after saying sexual attraction to kids is not always immoral. which I guess we should count as a win, but not really. I mean, the only reason that this person is getting put into this situation is because they got caught, right? If they didn't go out and do an interview, they would still be teaching in the schools. So don't think of this as a win for us. It's only because they were noticed. The school would be full on supporting their ability to continue teaching. Heck, and it's a university. I mean, you get 17-year-olds in there. Occasionally, you even get 16-year-olds in universities. So it's not like this person isn't going to be around minors. I mean, should we go around teaching minors that it's okay if an adult is sexually attracted to you? In what fucking world is that acceptable? You know, other than Middle Eastern Muslim nations where I guess it's acceptable over there, doesn't mean we shouldn't call out that bullshit. A Virginia university has placed an assistant professor on administrative leave. See, look at that. They're not even fired. They're just on administrative leave. They're suspending this person until the backlash can go away. Oops, sorry about that hiccup. I need some more tea. Yes, that's good. They were placed on administrative leave after the educator sparked heated backlash for saying if it isn't necessarily immoral for adults to be sexually attracted to children. This is just some more re-summarizing of what they said before. Let's get to the meat of it. Reaction to Dr. Walker's research. Wow, this person's a doctor. That shows you, just how much credit you can give these colleges. Reactions to Dr. Walker's research and book have led to concerns for their safety and that of the campus. Furthermore, the controversy over Dr. Walker's research has disrupted the campus and community environment and is interfering with the institution's mission of teaching and learning. And you know what? If they're teaching this bullshit, it needs to be fucking disturbed. It needs to be disrupted, and they need to hear from the public about how it isn't acceptable for them to teach children these things, to teach our young, or soon-to-be adults going out into the world having to adjust to reality. This is not an acceptable thing for you to teach them. Get it the fuck out of there. That's what needs to happen. More parents need to start pulling their kids out of these fucking universities. More parents need to start speaking out against these absolutely degenerate and disgusting curriculums. This is what needs to happen. Good. They're disrupted in their learning. Good, because they're brainwashing them. I want to state, this is a quote, I wanted to state in the strongest terms possible that child sexual abuse is morally wrong and has no place in our society, ODU President Brian Hemphill said in an accompanying statement. This is a challenging time for our university, but I am confident that we will come together and move forward as a monarch family. What the hell is that supposed to mean, a monarch family? That must be something to do with the school. Either way, they're excusing the professor's behavior while saying they're not excusing the professor's behavior. This shit is still going to be taught in other classrooms, much like how CRT isn't taught in schools. It's just not a part of the curriculum. That doesn't mean that teachers aren't distributing that bullshit. Walker had acknowledged that the use of the term minor attracted persons, or MAPS, fucking pedophiles, suggests to some that it's okay to be attracted to children. That's because it does. But said labeling anyone wholly by their sexual desires doesn't indicate anything about their morality. When it comes to diddling kids, it fucking does. From my perspective, there is no morality or immorality attached to attraction to anyone because no one can control who they are attracted to at all. Hang on, I thought that... See, that doesn't square up with the other crap we've been hearing out of the left. They were saying before that, if you aren't attracted to trans people, you're a bigot because you should be viewing a male to female trans person as a woman, and if you aren't willing to suck the dick, bigot, you are immoral and wrong. So how come it's not the same when it comes to diddling kids? Just saying. In Walker said, in other words, it's not who we're attracted to that's either okay or not okay. It's our behaviors in responding to that attraction that are either okay or not okay. Which, okay, sure, I guess I could agree with that. You know, not everyone can stop themselves from having improper, immoral, wrong feelings. However, destigmatizing these things is going to embolden the kid diddlers. Walker said child sex abuse is never, ever okay. Pretty sure there was a wink after that. But that having sexual urges towards children isn't necessarily wrong. Yes, it fucking is. As long as those carnal desires aren't acted upon. Well, you're destigmatizing the desires themselves, therefore you're not trying to get these people to successfully move away from this improper and immoral attraction to children. You aren't telling them that they need to do anything about controlling it. Walker drew condemnation online after being... See, this is more just they're going over it. So the gist of this story is that the assistant professor has been given the stanky old boot temporarily. Guaranteed they'll be back, unless this story stays up for long enough, unless enough people bitch and moan and go to the university and tell them you need to get all of this crap out of your curriculum or I'm pulling my child out until it affects the pockets of the university. And unfortunately, the universities are subsidized by the government. They're given, not only are they given grants, but they are guaranteed a specific amount of money from government guaranteed loans. So I don't see a whole lot of change going on because of that, but it certainly will alert the colleges to the temperature of the public in general. So either way, this person is a piece of shit. They deserve to be called out as a piece of shit. They deserve to have their entire story blasted full on for the entire world to see. And Old Dominion University and Virginia University need to know that this behavior is not acceptable, and they need to start screening their teachers for this kind of shit. Basically, anybody who looks like this, I can get a good image of it there, anybody who looks like that doesn't need to be teaching. Let's see, I did have some lighter news I wanted to pull up before I call an end to this here stream. In some lighter news, now this actually happened a while ago. This was almost about 2 weeks ago. If anyone else out there is a Venture Brothers fan, I am a huge Venbros fan. I started watching it when it first came out, but I didn't get really attached to it till I think season 3 was out. And if you know how the show works, it's actually 6 years after it had been out, because they do biannual releases, or they did do biannual releases for their show. But the show got cut unceremoniously before they could finish off their final season. They had 1/8 season left, and unfortunately AT&T took over at Adult Swim and Cartoon Network, and they were cutting a bunch of shows. And despite the fact that Venture Bros has a very strong, very powerful cult following, they don't pull in a lot of eyeballs. And that's all that the bigwigs over at AT&T saw. So they pulled it. They pulled the show, and we never got our 8th season that we were promised, that they had a contract for. However, we did get a little bit back, and this is actually from... This happened because of a lot of people writing in very kindly and not attacking the AT&T executives. I can't remember exactly who it was, but long story short, someone who worked at AT&T kept getting a lot of messages from Venture Brothers fans just saying, look, we really love this show, and we were promised an 8th season, and we would really appreciate it if you gave us the closure that we feel we deserve from being longtime fans. The eyeballs might not be there when you're looking purely at the initial release, but a lot of people watch these shows on, like I've purchased several seasons on Amazon, and I hate getting digital copies of shows on Amazon, but this show, I'll frickin' do it. A lot of people purchase the DVDs and Blu-rays of it. A lot of people own merch for it. I own t-shirts and posters, and with one of the Blu-rays I got an album for it. But nonetheless, they eventually broke down and said, look, we're going to give you a movie, and they're doing this with a couple of other shows. Supposedly, we're going to get a Metalocalypse movie and another Aqua Teen movie. I like Aqua Teen. I like Metalocalypse, but Venbros is my absolute 100% love. This is easily my favorite cartoon of all time, and I just want them to do this right. And we got a little bit of news. This is back from October 29th. Jackson Public, one of the two creators of Venbros, posted this on Twitter. Simply says, things are happening, and it is the Venture Bros, what they are calling the long-form special, which I actually kind of like. They're not calling it the Venture Bros movie. They're just considering it to be an even longer special, which they've had a couple of long specials in the show, particularly Operation Prom and All That in Gargantua 2, which are some fantastic episodes. And those are only, like, when you take out commercial time, they're only like 45 minutes or an hour long. They're not full movie length. So I will also say Jackson Public and Doc Hammer are well known for pushing the boundaries as far as they can and basically foregoing their own initial paychecks that they get from their advance in order to make the best product that they can. So I wouldn't be surprised if they were told they're going to get a 90-minute movie and they'll just keep pushing and getting under people's, doing anything they can to get it up to like a 2-hour special. That would be so amazing if we could basically get them to do what they wanted to do with their final season 8 and crunch it all together into a single movie, which I'm willing to bet they could probably pull off in 2 hours. Cut a few things there, cut a few things here. Might not tie up everything in a nice little bow in a little package and send it off. We're probably not going to get that, but we also know from their intentions that they were more so planning on doing a life goes on type of ending anyhow. They aren't planning on cutting everything off and saying this is the end. I have my own predictions as to what will happen, and I'm going to share them with you anyway, because who cares? I could be wrong. My prediction is, we know that from, I want to say we found out in season 7, actually. Was it season 7 or season 6? No, it was season 7, when Rusty was presiding over the Treaty of Tolerance 2 back on the old burned down Venture compound, and Dean goes out to visit the Potter house, where Ben is, and he meets the other helper there. Basically, you find out that Rusty has also been cloned, and it's not just the boys. My prediction is that prior to the last episode, if this was going to be a season, prior to the final episode, it would be Doc Venture actually dying. Not the Doc Venture might be dead, Doc Venture's running off and trying to find himself. It will be Doc Venture legitimately dead. We see his dead body crumpled there on the ground, bleeding out. Done. And the beginning, either I think the end splash at the end of the episode, the very last 20 to 30 seconds you get at the end of every episode, was going to be an automatic cloning system that the great Doc Venture had set up turning on, and we're starting to get a new Rusty clone popping out. And I'm thinking that the final episode is going to be basically Rusty clone having to work his way through the final steps of his own cloning process, which he's very familiar with, and then taking the place of his former dead self. I think that would be a good one. And I think that the new Doc Venture is going to have hair. That is my prediction. But nonetheless, Jackson Public putting this out, long form special. This is the script for it, the second draft. And if he's putting this out, that means it's at least somewhat official. Things are moving forward. Things are happening as he said. And you know what? I want to go through some of the replies on this. I want to see if they're nice and wholesome. And what's going on here? So, right at the top, I did look through a couple of these already, as you'll see from my hearts. Right at the top, we got Quarter Black Garrett, who I am quite the fan of. I've actually been watching some of his videos on Odyssey, and you know what? I'm gonna drop that link into the chat here. Let's get Quarter Black Garrett some love here on Odyssey. That is, if I can find his channel. Oh, look at that! It's right at the beginning. Yeah, I know you guys can see me going through this stuff. I don't care. There you go. If you are interested, check him out. Highly suggested. Some good wholesome content where he doesn't get super political on his channel. From what I've seen, he sticks more to pure just pop culture. Probably because he spends 2 to 4 hours a day, 4 days a week, just going over politics on Crowder. And that's a great one there. That is a fantastic episode. Look at that. Look at that massive Swedish Johnson there on Brack. Let's see. So this is from a user. So really, Rusty/Malcolm have been the Venture Bros the whole time. Yes. Patton Oswalt. No one gives a fuck what you think, Patton Oswalt. Just make the funnies or shut the fuck up. Let's see. Just got an awesome here. Someone doing Bender memes. Got a couple of oh my gods. That's good. That is good. I need to go back and steal that later on. Oh yeah, just seems to be a lot of hype overall. I'm included in that. I am definitely looking forward to some Go Team Venture action. That's a good one. But yeah, I thought that would be a nice, wholesome end toward the stream. Gonna start wrapping this up here soon. Let's see. Back to the full screen. So yeah, that's just a quick overview of a couple of current events, couple of things going on in the world today. That I'm glad that Professor has been continuing to get admonished because they deserve it. I would like to see that university catch a little bit more heat. I would like to see more people become activated against that university. Even more important, I would like to see the students at that university begin to push back against their, I don't know any other way to put it, but their pedo apologist propaganda that they're trying to teach these kids out there. I would like to see more conservative students standing up and speaking out for the horrors that they see in these schools. I know they make it very difficult because they tend to push people out, which is really unfortunate. But, yeah, glad they're getting some heat. I actually kind of liked the trailer for The Expanse Season 6. That's something I'll be looking forward to here in the near future. Yeah, definitely going to do some regular updates when that show starts coming out. Probably do an episode by episode. Maybe not a full breakdown, but just a very surface level review because that's the kind of show I don't want to spoil for people. I don't want to go and do a full breakdown and everything until well after it's come out, until well after people have already seen it. But I wouldn't mind giving just people my, kind of having my finger on the pulse there and putting it out to people and letting more people know about it, because it's the kind of show I would like to see more of. I would like to see more companies out there, more studios out there pushing that style of show. Just something that the politics within the show are contained within the universe of the show. And not only that, but even like I said this in my initial review of the teaser, that I want to say it was in season 2 or 3, I was starting to get kind of worried that Naomi was being set up as a full-on Mary Sue. And I didn't like the way she was going. I mean, every time she opened her mouth, it was everything she said was right, and everybody was following her, and everybody was praising her. And frankly, it was getting annoying. But you know what? They put the big old fucking kibosh on that. They snapped her back to fucking reality, to where when she had hidden the protomolecule on the tip of that rocket they were supposed to fly into the sun, and she hid it behind an asteroid and then gave it to the OPA, everybody immediately hated her. Everyone on the ship stopped listening to her, stopped talking to her. She became an outsider amongst them like that, just immediately. And I kind of liked her getting snapped back to reality there and having to earn her trust and earn her way back into the hearts of her crewmates. It was something that was somewhat needed for that character. And then again in season 5, when she goes onto the planet beyond the belt, Elos. She can't handle it. You know, she's been able to handle just about everything that's come up to her at this point in time, and it was once again about time that she got hit with something that she could not handle. Gets once again snapped back to reality. I thought that was some very important character building moments for her. And it's things like that make the show really good. They stick to some of the classic storytelling just criteria that we've seen. Not thinking of the right word here, but just classic storytelling that we've seen for years and decades and even centuries that we know work well, but we're straying away from in most modern storytelling mediums because these things they're so easily criticized by the wacko leftists that have made their long march through the institutions. See, that's something else. They haven't just gone into the government or educational institutions. They've made it into pop culture now, and they've been gaining more and more speed and picking up more fervor in the pop culture spaces. So, that's why we're seeing all of this woke nonsense these days. And that's why comic books have sucked for so long. That's why TV shows are starting to suck now. Because we're having to basically cherry pick and wait for a good creator to come along that just isn't woke. And sometimes it takes more than that. It takes more than them just not being woke. They still have to be good and not be woke. But nonetheless, I think there's going to be some good things on the horizon as far as pop culture goes. I think that this is actually starting to hit the wallets of a lot of these creators. Like we've seen a couple of things out there about the Disney studios getting pissed off at some of their executives for pushing this woke nonsense and seeing that it's now starting to affect the bottom dollar that the company's supposed to be earning. They're seeing their stocks drop drastically. And they're going to make people answer for it, and eventually someone's going to pick up that it's all this woke bullshit that they're putting out there. And they're going to go back to the old formula they were using. That worked wonders for them. I mean, how much money did Disney have to make beforehand? And now these people are squandering it. So, and it's not like they were just trying something new, trying something different. They were specifically creating propaganda to twist the minds of the young. That is exactly what they were trying to do, and it's exactly what they're going to continue trying to do, because they're already dug in like ticks right now, and it's people like us, like you and me, who need to vote with our wallets. And we need to be the match that's lit, that forces that tick to dig out of the skin. We need to be the fire that tells them what they're doing is wrong and that we're not going to pay for it and we're not going to stand by it. I know a lot of people aren't for boycotts, but me personally, I don't see anything wrong with a personal choice to boycott something. For instance, I attempt to boycott Amazon whenever possible. Now, I'm not gonna give up a good deal when I see a good deal on Amazon, but if I'm able to find this product, particularly at a small mom and pop store in town, I'm gonna do that. And that's what most of us have to start doing. We have to start learning to vote with our wallet. Even if it's going to cost us a little bit more money, it's going to save us money in the long run in multiple different ways, especially purchasing at mom and pop stores. Because when you do that, you're making sure that the money you spend, at least the majority of it, is staying within your community, within your local economy. And that's really important. That's a good way to keep down other expenses. It's a way to keep down local inflation. But anyway, I think this has been a pretty good stream here. I've gone for about an hour so far. Yeah, let me know if you go back and you're watching this in the future. Let me know in the comments down below if you would have any suggestions for things you would like to see me doing. Perhaps I should talk a little bit more about my tobacco and not just smoke it, because that was kind of in the title. But, I'm here to talk about pop culture and politics and where the two collide. That's what my channel's all about. I'm trying to expose the woke grifters for who they are, and I'm trying to get you to pay attention to what they're doing. I would love nothing more than, I know a lot of people who are going to see this are already in agreement with me, but I would love nothing more than essentially a normie to catch on to this and just for something that I said to click in their brain, something that I've exposed them to get them to start paying attention. So I think that's so important. I know a lot of people consider a lot of these lefties to just be completely gone. They're completely brainwashed and there's no saving them. But there are people out there, and I've met quite a few of them, that all it took was one instance of noticing the cognitive dissonance that they push to completely unravel this fake world that had been built around them by the institutions. It only takes one thing for them to get exposed to the truth, and to start doing their own research, and to start looking into things, and to start noticing the agitprop, and to start noticing the brainwashing. Sometimes it just takes that one thing. And that's what I'm really here for. That's why I'm really getting into streaming now, and what I really want to talk about, the crossover of pop culture and politics, because pop culture is upstream from culture. We like to think that the opposite is true, but truly in this day and age, especially with all of the exposure we have with the internet and streaming services and everything else, and books that you don't even have to go to the bookstore and buy. You can just order it on Amazon on your Kindle, and then bam, you have it right there. We need to not only start exposing the things that are wrong about this, but we need to start propping up independent creators who do the same, who are creating stuff that we like. And I would love nothing more, and I think this is going to happen. It's going to take a long time. It's not going to be quick, but I think that there is going to be an indie revolution within the next 20 years. I see independent creators in spaces like movies and television in particular. Sorry about that, but movies and television in particular, I see an indie revolution taking over and actually pushing out some of these old studios, especially ones like Disney that are going full on woke. I would love nothing more than Disney to be losing money to Young Rippa 5'9". He's doing his new comic book company he's trying to get off the ground. I would love nothing more than for that small company to take over what Marvel is doing. And I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be more decentralized. I think it's going to be a lot of small creators that may eventually form up together and become one big company, in which case we're going to have a cyclical function to this. But within my lifetime, within your lifetime, unless you're like 90, I see an indie revolution coming along, and I see these smaller creators starting to take away and actually pull out of the pockets of the big companies rather than just occasionally being a gnat flying around in the air. I see this being full-on groups of mosquitoes coming in and draining the blood of these big companies and giving them the worst case of malaria that they've ever seen. So if you're a creative person out there and you're tired of seeing all of this woke crap, don't be afraid to take the leap. I mean, reach out to people. I've been meeting people in this rogue entertainment space. People like Drew Taylor at Supreme Heretic, and people like Brightest Day, and they're all under Steve Walton. And I see them, they're really trying to push this. They're doing their best to push this indie revolution of getting smaller creators and independent creators the recognition and the support that they deserve. So I see this happening. This is a very, very much a grassroots situation going on here. And it will come into existence one day, and it's better to be ahead of the curve. So if you're a creative person who doesn't like this woke stuff, take the leap. Reach out to those people I was mentioning. Reach out to Stephen Walton. He's on YouTube. I believe he's on Twitter and Instagram as well. Let them know, hey, I'm an indie creator. I'm trying to create stuff that isn't going to be agitprop, that isn't going to be a brainwashing tool for the socialist, and I need some help. I need some expertise. I need to know what I can do, and I'm willing to bet they're going to help you out. I think it's a very important thing that they're doing. Or, reach out to me and I'll try and get you in touch with these people. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, probably not the best place to get a hold of me on Instagram, but I am on Twitter at FreezePeachYT. Or you can leave me a comment here on YouTube. I'm still small enough that I actually look at those and read every single comment that I get, and I tend to comment back whenever applicable. But yeah, keep an eye out for the indie revolution. It's going to happen. It's going to be a thing, and be ready to support these creators. Be ready to take the money that you would give to Disney and put it toward a smaller creator and take a chance on something that might not be exactly up your alley, but know that these people deserve what you are giving them because they have worked hard and they have worked to put out a product that they are proud of. It's not just recycling old ideas with old characters or things that are considered new ideas with old characters in order to get more money out of you. Marvel and DC have been they've been a money printing mill for a long time. Disney has been a money printing mill for a long time. I mean, they had a couple of hits in there with the MCU, but let's be honest. Overall, the MCU movies average at best. The vast majority of them average at best. Look at the new Star Trek movies or the new Star Trek shows. They blow goats. Not a single new Star Trek show holds even the closest candle to Deep Space Nine. None of the Star Trek movies hold even the closest candle to, let's go with Undiscovered Country, not the most loved movie in the Star Trek franchise. One that I happen to really enjoy is The Undiscovered Country, and heck, that was a reflection of modern politics at the time. They were talking about the dissolution of the Iron Wall and the falling of the USSR, and how there was now becoming peaceful relationships between the USSR and they were no longer called the Allies, essentially the UN, but it was about this whole new world of conflicting ideologies now working along with each other. And it was actually a really good movie, and it exposed prejudices on both sides of things and how there were people on both sides who weren't ready to give up essentially the Cold War that they had going on. Not a single one of these new Star Trek films holds a candle to The Undiscovered Country. They're destroying the IPs in front of our eyes, and we need to stop supporting them. And we need to tell other people that we know that these movies are crap. I understand there's a lot of normies out there. I'm related to a few of them that even like those movies, but do your best to convince them that they're not good, that they shouldn't be spending their time watching Star Trek Picard, and they should be watching Deep Space Nine, because Deep Space Nine is actually fucking good. It's one of my favorite Star Trek shows. Honestly, it's even a little bit ahead of TNG for me. The more and more I watch Deep Space Nine, the more I love it, and it might actually take the cake as my favorite Star Trek show. Beyond TNG, beyond TOS, beyond Voyager. Never really got into Enterprise, but I might give it a watch one of these days. Nonetheless, this is going to happen, and we're going to see new creators making things along the lines of Star Trek. And we need to be ready to support those people. We need to make sure we're fine-tooth combing over these things and make sure it's not agitprop and make sure it's not brainwashing. But you know what? Even if it is a little bit and you enjoy it, you're going to enjoy what you enjoy. And I understand that. I would not admonish somebody for enjoying what they enjoy. But when it's utter crap, you need to call it out for being utter crap. Otherwise, we're only going to continue getting this cycle of utter crap. I think that is a good place to end the stream there, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you had a wonderful time in viewing this, and please come back again in the future and give me a watch. This isn't going to be the only live stream I do. I'm just, I actually haven't even gotten properly set up to do it yet, so there will be more in the future. Probably not at this time on Wednesdays, because this is normally when I would be running game, but I'm overcoming a hand injury right now, and that makes it kind of difficult to write. So probably not going to be on Wednesdays. I'll be working out an actual schedule sometime in the future. I haven't figured it out. This was really to just test things out, see how it's going, give things a try. But let me know when you're watching this in the future down in the comments below what you think of what I'm doing here. Give me some advice if you have any. Tell me anything that you thought went wrong or improper. Let me know. If you disagree with me on something, go ahead and put a comment on there. And you know what? Give me a like. Give me a subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. I just hit 10 subscribers today, and I know that sounds like nothing, but for me, 10 subscribers is awesome. I really enjoy that people are actually now subscribing to my content, and I'm getting some very slow but somewhat steady. I'm growing a little bit here and there. So I'd really appreciate any support that you could give me, because, I'd like to be one of the independent creators that I was talking about. That's something I'd like to do, and I could use your support in helping me get there. Either way, ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful day, and never be afraid to speak your mind.